This is Dr. Anthony Kane from the Complete Connection Parenting Program with another parenting tip for you. A lot of parents ask me about their ODD children, and they ask, what's going to happen to them? What's the long-term picture look like? Well, there are a number of things that do happen with these children. First of all, the good news is that if your child is under 8 years old, there's a very strong chance, a 50% chance your child will outgrow ODD. However, if he's older than 8 years old, almost all these children continue to have ODD behavior, defiant behavior, into their teens and even into adulthood. Another thing that can happen is these children can have their diagnosis changed to something like ADHD. This is not so common also. It's about 5 or 10% of children who have their diagnosis changed. There is also a possibility of developing something called conduct disorder, which is the most significant, most difficult disruptive child behavior disorder there is. And this is also fairly uncommon. And the good news about that is if your child's had ODD for 3 or 4 years, they usually do not change the diagnosis to something more severe like conduct disorder. It usually happens fairly quickly. So if your child's had ODD for a while, you don't have to worry about conduct disorder developing. Another thing that can happen is they can develop some other type of disorder that we haven't mentioned, which is also fairly not so common. And the one uncommon thing that can happen is they can stay ODD and just ODD. And that's about 5% of the children who just remain ODD the rest of their lives. However, the vast majority of children who have oppositional defiant disorder eventually develop some other concurrent condition with the ODD. Like they have ODD and ADHD, ODD and bipolar disorder, some other behavioral problem, some other psychiatric diagnosis. That's the most common thing that happens. So that's the whole thing. There's nothing, no good news, no bad news. This is what's likely to happen if your child has oppositional defiant disorder. The important thing to remember is that your child is not a statistic. Any child can be turned around, and you should really look into doing what you can to get your child's behavior under control. The other thing to remember is oppositional defiant disorder. The child may be naturally defiant, but you can use that defiance, natural defiance, for good things. For example, my oldest child, who's now in his late teens, is still by nature very defiant. So what he does, he's not defiant against parents, he's defiant against things like society problems, against smoking, against drug abuse, things that I'm kind of happy he's defiant against. His friends, whoever friends are, may be involved in drugs. He does not know about it because he won't be friends with them anymore. So defiance is not definitely a bad thing. It has to be redirected. And that's your job as a parent, to help your child use your child's talents, whether it's defiance, whether it's some other problem, and learn how to direct it properly for your child's good and for society's good. So that's it. This is Dr. Anthony Kane again for the Complete Connection Parenting Program. If you want more information on and more parenting tips, please go to our website at ccparenting.com, and you can sign up for our free newsletter to get more of these tips. Have a great day.